Shopify is one of the world's most well-known softwares. If you think e-commerce, you're probably thinking of them. Now, this breakdown isn't looking at the individual Shopify stores. Instead, it's looking at their actual Shopify website and how they convince visitors to become major users of their store. They're a software company. They're a SaaS company. What can we learn from how they treat SaaS customers and getting them to sign up? So first off, why do we even do this? Well, looking at the really big companies, they're going to be doing things that we've never even occurred to us. We want to be able to look at how they're doing things, why they're doing the things that they do, and really break down into huge detail. We're going to look from a UX perspective as well as a UI perspective. So what is UX? So UX is user experience. It's how easy the site is to navigate, how easy the site is to absorb the content and work around it and to go on that journey. That's what UX really, really is. UI is the intricacies. It's how it looks, it's how it makes you feel, right? It's how the buttons can be edited and moved and tweaked. It's those important elements that become really, really key, and we need to figure those out as well. So we're very much looking at it from a UX and UI perspective. So let's dive in. I'm going to share my screen. So let's break this down section by section. We're going to start right at the top of the page and work our way through everything so you get to see everything that the user would see in the order that the user would see it. So this opening section here is a video. They're very much selling this as here's loads of different styles of businesses that use us. It's very much focused on the user, what's good for them, the different stores that use them, how is it best to go through this. You'll see from a contrast point of view that we have a kind of gradient over the top of this, which means regardless of what video is in the background, even if it's kind of white elements, you can always read the text, so everything really stands out. And you'll see here that we have these what are called CTAs or call to actions. The buttons that we really want the user to interact with are high contrast, they are white, and it's very clear what we're doing. There's a free trial, you're going to sign up. They've even got micro content right next to this. Start for free, then get your first 3 months for only £1 a month. Really, really great way just to sell to them. We're upselling right away to like, hey, get this thing. If you want to watch the video, you can do that as well. And this is a really nice secondary CTA here. So you'll see that major attention is being drawn to the free trials. But actually, if we go over here and we hover over it, it becomes very obvious that we can interact with that if we wish. So really nice opening section. Now, if the user doesn't interact with that straight away, they clearly need to have some credibility given to them, right? So, language like trusted by millions, we're referencing millions, we're referencing the scale and size of trust of all these people. We're using logos of all of the brands that trust us. And it's very much this kind of idea of, well, all of these customers trust us, so why not be able to trust us as well? Now, it's easy for Shopify to obviously do this, right? They have a large number of people that work with them. But what if you're a brand new software company? What if you're just setting up? Well, there's always big ways to find credibility builders. It might be the number of people that you've worked with, but if you just started, that might not be. But maybe it's if you're an IT company or if you're doing something in particular, can it be the number of X that you've delivered? Is it the number of tweets that you've sent? Is there a large figure that we can put in there? If we don't have these large figures to start with, that's okay, right? We need to find other ways to build credibility. But this is what they're doing, and they're doing it really nicely. Now, they're then breaking down by persona, which I think is a really interesting one. So you're either a potentially large company that might be interested in working with them. You might be someone like us who's a partner who might want to offer some of, we want to, push Shopify to people. That's not what this video is about, though. You might be a developer. Obviously, we're a web agency. We have people that work for us. Or you might be a creator who wants to start selling off some of their wares in another way. So they're being very clear on the type of people that would come to them. Now, we're going to take a little stop here, and we're going to talk about objections or concerns that the user might have. And this is one thing that I think Shopify does really well. But before we go into this even more, we need to take a little breather to basically say, what are these objections or what are these concerns? So really understanding who your user is going to allow us to figure out what these are. So for Shopify, I think they've done a very good job that in theory, their homepage is very much focused on allowing people who want to open their first store set up with Shopify. So their major concerns are there answered, whether that's, how easy it is to set the site up. Is it going to link with other systems? What about shipping? Is it going to work with my card payments? All of these major concerns that you would think about as setting up a shop are considered and explained in a way of like, hey, don't worry, we've got you. So one thing I would say with the site that you're looking at and the site that you're doing is, have you considered all those potential objections? Have you considered all of those concerns? SaaS companies very much end up focusing on just credibility building, and they end up ignoring really, really key factors that can drive up conversion rate. So we need to make sure we're considering those. Back to Shopify. So if we go on here, we've obviously got this area here where it's like, hey, guess what? You can build it with us. You don't even need any coding experience. So they're highlighting that out. Maybe you've got concerns around whether the whole thing can be branded. So, it's great that I can click on this. There's some interactive to say that it's brandable. And don't worry, you can also add some ads. So my next concern might be around how easy it is to kind of sell. Can I do this in, I've got a physical building. I've got some other options that can come on here. Are they going to be easy for me to sell? Or, do I have a warehouse? How's it going to live with my warehousing? All of these things are going to be considered and kind of showcased here, and you can push to this section here. And this is one really important thing to remember with a homepage is we're not trying to answer every single concern and getting them to buy there and then. Yes, we do want to answer some concerns, but some of it is really about signposting them to the next area where they can learn that information. So we're very much pushing them here to this start selling. A really big thing with Shopify, and this can be seen as a plus or a minus depending on who you speak to. Shopify has a set checkout, right? You can't overly edit that unless you're a Shopify Plus person and paying, 24 grand a year for it. You're not going to be able to really edit that. But they're showing this as a plus. So it's the best converting checkout on the planet. They've obviously have proof of this. They then show how easy it is to work with. Obviously, they've simplified it down slightly. But one really nice element here that I also want to highlight is they even just visually show that it works with MasterCard, Apple Pay, Visa. They are visually answering this without having to show lots of additional information. It's a really great way to answer objections there. Hey, if you've got a physical store, don't worry because they cover point of sale as well, and you can read more about point of sale. So they're constantly answering these potential user concerns or objections. Further down here, it's like, hey, guess what? We're almost all part of your marketing as well. So you can get new leads, we can engage with your customers, we can help you build out additional data. I think this is a really nice way of visually showing those things. And another thing that Shopify does really well is it doesn't overface you with too much content. They haven't got large, huge blocks of content here. Everything is small, it's digestible, it's easy to take in. And if it's easy to take in, it's easier to pass judgment, and then we might do the thing that we want the user to do. Obviously, some people are going to be really concerned about how easy it is from a back-end point of view. It's like, yes, it might look nice, but is it going to make my life harder from an operational point of view? So again, they've got an entire section dedicated to this, to overseeing your objections, which I can click into, how it's going to fulfill my individual orders, or it's going to manage it. Now, obviously, it doesn't have all the information here. I still have to click in here to manage it. But again, try and think about from a point of view of what are your potential users' concerns. Let's try and answer those in a visual manner. I think this is really nice as well. It draws my attention, it grabs it. The contrast level is very high, even the gradient that's being applied, and obviously very clear what we're having this user to do. Now, if we've got this far down, bearing in mind that we've had objections from a back-end point of view, we've had objections from a sales point of view, we've covered point of sale, we've covered cards, we've covered a lot of information here. If we've got this far down, we probably have a credibility issue. So maybe let's have some video now. I even like from a point of view of these videos of how they edit this here, right? It's very much around this person, their journey, how they're using Shopify. It's a little OTT, but it works. We've got an additional credibility building here where we can run through and we can show the different people that have used this system, which is, again, a really nice way of doing it. And maybe you have a concern around just running this system, right? Like, okay, well, this is fine for people who have done it, or maybe young people who are used to using technology. But what if I've never done it before? I'm scared of doing this. This section is very clear for that. It's like, okay, we can start on our blogs, you can do our online courses, you're trying to do this on your own, join our community, or if you think you might need help, jump into our help area. We're happy to run you through it. And it's a really nice way of signposting the user out to these different sections. These are definitely things that we can take advantage of in all of our own stores. And then we get to the bottom of it and it's like, hey, grow your business here, get started. Big green area. We've got to the bottom now. If you've not done this, what else can we possibly need to do? If you've got this far down, maybe you just need some additional signposting. So they've got all of this information in their footer, if you're interested in sustainability, social impact as an example. So Shopify isn't necessarily perfect, but it's doing a lot of really, really great things that we can all take advantage of in our businesses. So if you like what you've seen here, you can check out some of my other videos to have a look through just here. This is the most recent one for you to have a look at. Or have a comment on another website that you want me to review, even if it's yours, even if it's a brand new one, if it's a startup. That's even better because there's going to be lots of learnings that I can give. I'm very conscious with this Shopify store that I very much focus from a UI and UX point of view of all the lovely things they're doing. But let's try find some examples which aren't so good, and maybe I can give you indications of how those could be improved. Stay safe. I'll speak to you soon.